In the quiet streets of Berlin, someone is already regretting their latest job. A chilling message on a phone asks the ultimate question: what if the legends are true? The shocking truth sends her phone clattering to the ground. She flees through a dark alley, realizing monsters are no longer just stories. In a panic, she tries to convince herself it's all just an elaborate hoax. But a sinister presence lurking nearby proves her desperately wrong. A grotesque creature lunges from the shadows, its claws reaching for her. Her scream is silenced by pure, unadulterated fear. Just as hope seems lost, a mysterious hooded figure descends from the moonlit sky. With a single swift strike, the warrior's blade cuts the monster down. The stoic warrior shields the terrified woman from the monstrous aftermath. That grotesque creature is now nothing more than a stain on the city walls. She looks up, completely bewildered, to find her savior has vanished to the rooftops. Waiting for him is a mysterious colleague, ready for an immediate debrief. Meet Tujuru, a young exorcist who clearly takes his job very seriously. His partner quickly confirms the area is clear of any other aberrations. Down below, their target overhears a conversation that changes everything she knows. The man in glasses is pleased with the outcome, but Tujuru seems unimpressed. Our silent hero suddenly explodes, complaining about being dragged overseas for a mission. He sulks on the rooftop like a child, even as his partner calls him one of the best. Tujuru is still fuming, his partner calmly pointing out the obvious. His glare intensifies, revealing a deep-seated hatred for these creatures. He's disgusted by the monster's ridiculous appearance, even after defeating it. The top-tier exorcist continues his tantrum, completely ignoring his colleague. Meanwhile, the woman below learns these things first appeared decades ago, defying all logic. Nations across the globe began analyzing the chaos, slowly piecing together a terrifying truth. The conclusion was undeniable. The monsters from myths and legends are horrifyingly real. At first, world leaders were dismissive, brushing off the initial reports. But soon, a global crisis response meeting was called as the threat became too big to ignore. The world's most powerful people could only listen in disbelief as the occult became reality. The world's leaders realized they needed experts, people who've dealt with the shadows for centuries. To their astonishment, such specialists did exist, hidden in the corners of every culture. Shamans, priests, and monks, warriors who have always fought the unseen. They were gathered from across the globe and given a new official title, exorcists. Back in the truck, Tujuru scoffs, insisting modern weapons should be enough for any monster. His partner simply closes his book, reminding him that this is their sacred family duty. But another exorcist challenges him, bringing up the single, unbreakable pact of their order. Tujuru watches the woman he saved reunite with a friend, understanding the weight of that pact. He remembers seeing her alone, realizing she was waiting for this very person all along, and the most important rule of all, their existence must remain a total secret. He's still fuming, complaining that this spiritual training is just a massive inconvenience. And for all his trouble, he gets zero credit, as no one can ever know what he did. His partner chimes in, sarcastically agreeing that a little gratitude would be nice for risking their lives. Tujuru tries to argue, but his partner's logic leaves him completely speechless. But the young exorcist isn't done, his glare revealing the true source of his anger. He reveals his deep-seated hatred for a life defined only by destroying these creatures. He clenches his fist, admitting all he truly wants is to live a normal, free life. But freedom isn't an option when you're part of a highly specialized, globe-trotting exorcist team. His partner teases that if he were free, he could have gotten to know the girl he just saved, completely missing the point. The rest of the team jumps in, offering their superior friendship and earning a furious "shut up" from our hero. A hooded peacemaker tries to calm her bickering teammates, who are still arguing over monster-slaying duties. But the team leader claps his hands together, signaling an end to the foolishness. With a sharp look, he announces it's time to get down to business. The hooded girl closes her eyes, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the others. Even as the briefing begins, one teammate can't resist putting our hero in a headlock. Tujuru's annoyance fades, replaced by a grim focus on the mission ahead. Their next target is in a historic German town, right as it prepares for a multi-day festival. It turns out a powerful aberration has been targeting this very festival for years. This isn't just any monster. It's a legendary creature known as the Beast King. A creature of biblical proportions, this colossal beast is one of the strongest they'll ever face. Tujuru is stunned, unable to process the sheer power of their new target. As their truck barrels down the highway, he openly questions if they can even defeat such a monster. But his partner simply smiles, seeing this impossible mission as a golden opportunity. He dangles the ultimate prize in front of the young exorcist, a reward for their success. The deal is simple. Defeat the Beast King, and he'll grant Tujuru any one request. His partner knows exactly what he wants, suggesting this could be his ticket to a normal life. The thought of freedom, of love and dreams leaves our stoic hero completely flustered. He imagines it all, a normal life, celebrating at a festival without a care in the world. But reality crashes back in as he stands cloaked and on guard, an outsider to the joy around him. For the first time, he realizes the life he's always dreamed of might not be impossible after all. The deal is on the table. Defeat the beast, and freedom is his for the taking. He watches the happy townsfolk, deciding his mission means nothing compared to a normal life. The innocent joy of a child is all the motivation he needs. He makes a solemn vow. Once this hunt is over, he'll finally join them. With a new fire in his heart, he leaps into action, ready to fight for his future. But as he races across the rooftops, a critical question stops him in his tracks. His team wonders the same thing. Why do these aberrations always target festivals? He realizes these creatures must have their own motives, their own reasons for appearing. For the first time, he's not just thinking about destroying them, but understanding them. With his weapon in hand and a new resolve, the young exorcist prepares to face his destiny. A sudden downpour chills the festive air, and our hero senses the calm is about to break. An apple whizzes past his head as the first screams of terror echo through the streets. As chaos erupts and people flee, Tujuru stands firm against the unseen threat. He remains a solitary pillar of calm amidst a sea of pure, unadulterated panic. Then, a colossal shadow with horns blots out the starry sky, revealing the source of their fear. Tujuru stares in disbelief, mistaking the monstrous form for a mountain that shouldn't exist. But the ground trembles beneath him, and a horrifying realization dawns. It's no mountain, it's the legendary Beast King, and it's even bigger than the stories claimed. This is it, the strongest, most infamous aberration to ever walk the earth. His team confirms this isn't some fairy or god, it's a beast, a terrifying category all its own. The Beast King's roar shatters the night, its jaws powerful enough to crush steel. He acknowledges the sheer scale of the threat, leaping across the rooftops to meet it head-on. Landing squarely in the path of destruction, he urges the fleeing townsfolk to get to safety. Even our hero is stunned, muttering that this thing is just impossibly huge. He stands defiant before the legendary Behemoth, a tiny figure against a living mountain of muscle and rage. But he's not alone for long, as his team quickly assembles for the fight. The team leader takes command, ordering the binding specialist to the front line. His teammates immediately respond, raising massive stone pillars from the earth to trap the beast. Their powerful spell slams into the behemoth's chest, a desperate attempt to halt its advance. Taking his shot, the leader fires a blinding, cross-shaped projectile that strikes the monster dead on. Tujuru shouts in triumph, believing their trap has finally caught the beast. But his partner knows better, his grim expression saying it all. They've failed. With effortless ease, the Beast King shatters the massive stone restraints. The monster stands completely unfazed, its sheer power mocking their best efforts. Tujuru watches in disbelief, sensing something is fundamentally wrong with this creature. The Beast King's form shifts and hardens, becoming a walking fortress of stone and rage. Yet, instead of attacking them, the monster seems fixated on the town below. Our hero notices a bizarre pattern. It's rampaging, but actively avoiding harming people. His partner screams his name, trying to snap him out of his dangerous trance. The warning jolts Tujuru back to reality, but the real threat is just beginning. Tujuru casts aside his questions, declaring he'll destroy this aberration no matter what. With a roar, he activates a massive binding circle, vowing to win this fight for his freedom. But his team is stunned, recognizing this powerful spell as something they've never seen before. The young exorcist himself is caught off guard, wondering what this incredible power is. His partner shouts his name, terrified by the raw, uncontrolled energy pouring from him. He ignores the desperate cry, his expression hardening with grim resolve. He grips his blade with both hands, channeling every ounce of his being into one single purpose: victory. He thrusts his blade forward, unleashing a blinding flash of concentrated energy. The powerful strike connects, shearing off the tip of the Beast King's horn. The massive horn fragment crashes to the earth, yet the behemoth doesn't even flinch. Tujuru stands ready for another assault, but his ultimate attack was just a glancing blow. Its name echoes through the chaos: Behemoth, the unkillable legend. But a new robed figure appears on the scene, addressing the monster with reverence. He bizarrely compliments the creature's muscles, completely ignoring the exorcists. Our hero is left speechless, totally bewildered by this strange newcomer. The mysterious man praises the behemoth, calling it a truly powerful beast. Then comes the shocking reveal. He claims to be the monster's creator. This robed figure declares the Beast King has a specific, grand purpose. He orders his creation to fulfill its role correctly, adding another layer to the mystery. In a stunningly gentle gesture, the creator caresses the face of his colossal monster. The creator places a hand on the beast, announcing the engagement is complete. Tujuru can only stare, completely baffled by this bizarre turn of events. With its master aboard, the behemoth lunges forward with a new, terrifying purpose. The mysterious duo makes a swift escape, leaving the exorcists in the dust. Our hero gives chase, refusing to let his target get away. But a strange, jagged mark on his hand stops him cold, a side effect of his power surge. His partner screams his name, sensing the imminent danger. A colossal fist descends from above, threatening to crush him completely. The team unleashes a powerful counterattack, desperately trying to save him. But in a flash, the creator is holding him close, leaving our hero utterly flustered and captured. The creator's voice echoes through the dust, mocking our hero for holding back against his own blade. But the robed figure is gone, replaced by a horned woman who demands to know why he attacked her creation. Tujuru is frozen solid, his mind failing to process this impossible situation. His mysterious captor, however, looks completely unimpressed by his confusion. The young exorcist's brain finally reboots, but he's still utterly dumbfounded. His shock instantly turns to pure, flustered embarrassment as he realizes his captor is a girl. He struggles desperately in her arms, demanding to be released from this bizarre predicament. But his efforts are completely useless against her overwhelming, inhuman strength. His panic intensifies as he realizes not only did she appear from thin air, but she's also completely unconcerned with wearing any clothes, leaving him mortified. The mysterious woman gets his attention with a simple, demanding, "Hey!" She stares him down, coldly stating that his last attack was clearly meant to kill her. He's a sweating, stuttering mess, asking why she's acting so pathetic. But she just shrugs it off, completely unbothered by his frantic struggling. Tujuru demands to know what she's talking about, his mind reeling from the situation. Then comes the bombshell reveal. She declares that she is the beast. He tries to grab her, arguing that a beast's duty is something else entirely. But she stops him with a single hand, her strength far beyond human comprehension. The full, terrifying truth finally hits him, leaving him paralyzed with shock. With a piercing gaze, she issues a simple, cryptic command, "Catch me." She introduces herself as Behemoth, a beast born from a divine creator. As a hunter, she explains, he must accept his role in the natural order of things. Tujuru's mind short-circuits, unable to process that this girl is the colossal monster. He glances down to find a strange, jagged ring has formed on his finger, a mark of their bond. She grabs his hand, mocking him for thinking they could just talk it out. With a possessive glare, she declares that his heart now belongs to her. She leans in close with a predatory command, leaving our hero absolutely terrified. His dream of a normal life evaporates, replaced by a contract with the strongest beast in existence. Back in his apartment, Tujuru is having a full-blown meltdown, insisting this new living arrangement is impossible. He frantically points off-screen, demanding his partner just look at the source of his panic. And the source of his panic is the Beast King herself, complaining that his shirt is a tight fit. He furiously points out she's just too tall for a Japanese apartment, but she couldn't care less. Meanwhile, at a global headquarters, the fallout from their mission is already being discussed. A debriefing confirms the aberration, codenamed Behemoth, was too powerful for the dispatch team. The report highlights the most shocking development. The beast transformed into a humanoid during the fight. World leaders are in an uproar, shouting that an aberration taking human form is completely unheard of. The officials are left stammering, with absolutely no idea how to proceed. Some argue this is a valuable specimen that must be contained, not exorcised. A representative from the States thoughtfully suggests the perfect place to keep her, Japan. The Japanese delegate starts sweating bullets, knowing exactly who she's currently living with. The other nations quickly point out the Japanese exorcist's involvement, conveniently passing the problem to him. The Japanese representative is at a complete loss for words, stammering under the sudden pressure. but a single, unimpressed glare from a high-ranking official cuts through his excuses. The silent, intense stare is more than enough to make him sweat buckets. Cornered and terrified, the delegate reluctantly agrees to take on the impossible task. Back at the apartment, Tujuru and his partner are trying to make sense of the chaos. Our hero admits he's just as clueless, wanting to know what really happened during that fight. His partner recalls the mysterious seal, wondering who could have cast such a powerful spell. Tujuru holds up his hand, suspecting the strange new ring is the key to it all. Meanwhile, Behemoth casually mentions that even ancient texts talk about strange forms, wondering if she's just a glitch in the system. Tujuru is still reeling, unable to believe this colossal beast is now a girl sitting in his apartment. He then spots an identical jagged ring on her finger, a perfect match to his own. His partner tells him to calm down, but Tujuru realizes they're now bound by more than just circumstance. The partner drops another bombshell. Their superiors have decided Behemoth is now Tujuru's responsibility. Our hero explodes, arguing his tiny student apartment is no place for an exorcist's base, let alone a giant monster girl. But orders are absolute, and his new mission is simple: keep the Beast King under surveillance. His partner's cheerful smile does nothing to calm his nerves, confirming this nightmare is now his reality. With a casual wave, his colleague leaves him to handle the impossible situation all by himself. The partner even has the nerve to call this a fun fairy tale, clearly enjoying our hero's misery. Defeated and alone, Tujuru can only stare as his new monstrous roommate makes herself at home. Tujuru tries to lay down the law, but Behemoth is more interested in exploring this human settlement. Her curiosity immediately leads to property damage as she shatters his balcony railing with a single touch. Stepping inside for the first time, her horns instantly meet the ceiling with a loud crack. He panics, realizing her every move is a direct threat to his already tiny apartment. But she just shrugs it off, reminding him that bringing destruction is literally in her job description. That excuse doesn't fly with our hero, who absolutely loses his mind. He reminds her this is a rental property, and her Beast King title won't cover the security deposit. He orders her to sit down immediately and stop putting any more holes in his ceiling. Surprisingly, the all-powerful beast meekly agrees to his furious demands. And so begins their new life, with the legendary Behemoth sulking in a tiny apartment watching TV. Tujuru is shocked to find the all-powerful beast is surprisingly obedient. He sighs, remembering his partner is the one who actually wrecked the place. While cleaning up the mess, he fumes that this mission was supposed to be his ticket to freedom. His partner's mocking voice reminds him that freedom just means being stuck at home for now. But Behemoth corrects him, pointing out this isn't freedom, it's his surveillance duty. She gets his attention with a simple, "Hey boy," a strange glint in her eye. The Beast King then casually asks when he plans on eating her, much to his utter disbelief. She even boasts about her prime cuts, leaving our hero completely mortified. Tujuru grabs some vegetables, desperately explaining that this is what humans eat. He storms into the kitchen, shouting that there's plenty of delicious food that isn't her. He whips up a massive, sparkling plate of food, hoping to satisfy the legendary beast. With a proud flourish, he presents his masterpiece to a very skeptical-looking Behemoth. She takes a hesitant bite, unsure what to make of this strange human custom. Her eyes snap open in shock as she devours the meal, leaving Tujuru stunned by her reaction. The Beast King's face lights up with pure, unadulterated joy, a sight he never expected to see. He can't help but feel a little proud, even as he's completely baffled by her voracious appetite. Seeing her so happy, he offers her seconds, not quite realizing what he's getting himself into. A mountain of empty dishes proves that a Beast King's appetite is just as legendary as her power. He panics, realizing she's devoured not just seconds, but his entire food supply for the week. Defeated, he heads out for a grocery run, promising to buy her whatever she wants. He storms out, still trying to process the absolute chaos his life has become. Meanwhile, Behemoth scoffs at his complaints, finding the whole eat-me situation ridiculous. She accidentally crushes a toy, a small reminder of her overwhelming destructive power. He complains that she's going to eat everything he owns, but she just looks smugly satisfied. But as he thinks back, a strange feeling starts to bubble up. He remembers that for all her power, she actually listened to his commands, and he can't forget the pure, unbridled joy she had while eating the meal he cooked. A genuine smile spreads across his face as he realizes this monster is kind of endearing. At the store, he faces a new challenge, figuring out what snacks a legendary beast even likes. With a new sense of purpose, he accepts his strange new role as her official caretaker. Just as he's shopping, he runs into his partner, who's casually holding a snack. Tujuru is shocked to see him, asking why he's still hanging around. His partner just smiles, revealing he was nearby for a new limited edition snack. He correctly guesses Tujuru is on a food run for Behemoth, who's already eaten him out of house and home. The partner gives him a deadpan look, completely unsympathetic to his plight. Tujuru starts to open up, admitting something has changed his perspective. He confesses that Behemoth might not be as bad as he initially thought. This leads him to wonder if other aberrations might be just as misunderstood. With a burst of hope, he suggests there might be a better way than just destroying them. But his partner immediately crushes that dream, warning him that such thinking is dangerous. He points out that even with her special treatment, she could still take them out with one hand. But Tujuru argues back, even as his partner warns that beasts can turn violent in an instant. His colleague's cold logic hits hard. Regret is useless once you've already been attacked. He advises Tujuru to be friendly, but to never ever let his guard down. The partner worries what will happen if she gets swept up in her own power and reverts to her true form. Tujuru desperately tries to argue, refusing to believe she's just a mindless monster. He holds up his marked hand, insisting he can sense she isn't truly evil. His conviction is absolute, standing firm against his partner's cynical worldview. The two exorcists stare each other down, locked in a silent, ideological battle. Their debate is cut short by a blaring alarm echoing through the entire store. A notification suddenly appears on his hand. The bond fails if he's too far from his target for too long. The alarm blares again, a repeating warning that he strayed from his monstrous roommate. He panics, shouting that the strange mark on his hand is literally talking to him. His partner is completely baffled, demanding to know what target he's yelling about. In a moment of shared horror, they both realize the target can only be Behemoth. Suddenly, the entire store begins to shake violently, throwing them both off balance. They rush outside to find the streets filled with panicked civilians fleeing an unseen disaster. And there she is, Behemoth in her true colossal form, towering over the entire neighborhood. His partner is already on the phone as Tujuru stares in disbelief, realizing she's reverted. They stand before the living mountain, knowing this situation is about to get a whole lot worse. Tujuru frantically asks how to change her back, but his partner coldly states it's impossible. The order comes through loud and clear. Their first priority is to pacify the beast. But Behemoth isn't listening to reason, her roar tearing through the neighborhood. The partner prepares for battle, declaring she's reverted to her wild state. He calmly states their mission is to protect the city, no matter the cost. Tujuru realizes that if she keeps rampaging, the danger to civilians will be immense. His partner drops the grim alternative. If they can't stop her, exorcism is the only option left. The thought of destroying her leaves our hero completely horrified. He puts his foot down, refusing to believe that killing her is the right thing to do. With a desperate leap, he lands on her back, screaming her name to snap her out of it. Behemoth smashes through the neighborhood, leaving a trail of utter destruction in her wake. His partner shouts a warning, knowing any rash move will only escalate the collateral damage. The colleague prepares to intervene, announcing he's going in to handle the situation himself. But Tujuru desperately searches for another way, refusing to believe fighting is the only answer. In a moment of pure desperation, he yells at the colossal beast to sit, like a common dog. To everyone's astonishment, the legendary Beast King actually obeys, crushing a building as she sits. Both exorcists are left completely speechless by this unbelievable turn of events. His partner can't believe his eyes, muttering that the monster actually listened to a command. Standing on a rooftop, the partner admits they've at least stopped her rampage for now. But a sudden, horrifying realization dawns on him, his expression turning from relief to shock. His partner frantically shouts that it's not over, urging a confused Tujuru to look up. Our hero's eyes widen in dawning horror as he follows the command. He stumbles back, realizing the true disaster has only just begun. The sky is suddenly swarming with dozens of smaller, shadowy aberrations. His partner confirms the grim truth. Every single one of them is a monster. This unprecedented swarm was never in their reports, meaning things are about to get a lot worse. A horde of grotesque creatures descends, each one more bizarre than the last. The smaller monsters immediately begin their own path of destruction through the city. From above, it's clear they're all flocking towards one central point, Behemoth. A terrifying thought hits them. What if she's the one summoning this entire monstrous army? The partner grimly notes that reality rarely follows the script of a fairy tale. Tujuru realizes with dawning horror that these aberrations are far from predictable. The swarm is a menagerie of nightmares, from winged serpents to spiky shadow beasts. Back at the apartment, the rest of the team can only watch the city's destruction on the news. He flashes back to her happily eating snacks, unable to reconcile that girl with this monster. But instead of rampaging, Behemoth effortlessly swats one of the smaller creatures aside. She remembers his frantic words from earlier, a lesson learned in the heat of the moment. He had screamed at her not to destroy people's homes, a command she's now taking to heart. The Beast King isn't the threat. She's become the city's unlikely, colossal protector. With a mighty swing, she unleashes her full power, defending the city from the invading horde. With a flash of light, the ring on his finger activates, forcing the colossal beast back to her human form. She realizes the other aberrations weren't attacking the city. They were coming for her. His partner confirms they've driven off the remaining monsters, but Tujuru is just relieved she's safe. He can only stammer her name, a blush creeping across his face as he sees she's okay. But his relief turns to pure mortification as he realizes her clothes didn't survive the transformation. He frantically yells at her to cover up, much to his partner's silent, deadpan amusement. His colleague can only sweat, realizing their bizarre contract is undeniably real and shockingly effective. Behemoth, however, is completely unbothered, tearing off her ruined shirt without a second thought. Later that night, under a full moon, the team finally begins to assess the aftermath. The damage report is grim, but miraculously, not a single person was harmed in the chaos. Back at headquarters, the Japanese delegate argues that taking responsibility is an order they can't refuse. But he quickly realizes this impossible situation might actually be a golden opportunity. He clenches his fist, seeing Behemoth as an unknown power no nation has ever controlled. His grand plan? If Tujuru can somehow tame the Beast King, Japan gains an incredible asset. But his colleagues are confused, asking exactly what he means by tame. The delegate's brilliant idea is for Tujuru to make the all-powerful beast fall for him. His team can only stare back, completely unimpressed by his ridiculous romantic strategy. He furiously defends his plan, insisting that love is a powerful tool, much to his team's silent judgment. The logic is simple. A smitten behemoth would be much easier to control. For now, the official plan is to request backup and keep a very close eye on the new couple. A blush creeps across Tujuru's face as he realizes even monsters can be reasoned with. Behemoth casually agrees, adding that if he wants to talk, he should call her by name. He clenches his fist, a new hope igniting. Maybe he can earn his freedom without any more fighting. The delegates' team, however, remains deeply skeptical of his romantic strategy. But their boss is confident, declaring that this ridiculous plan is officially their next mission. The objective is now crystal clear. Tujuru must somehow win the heart of the Beast King. The next morning, the higher-ups have already finished pulling some serious strings. An official informs a bedridden Tujuru that despite the massive damage, this is still their home. He can't believe it, remembering the sheer scale of destruction she caused just hours before. With a polite bow, the officials depart, leaving the unlikely pair to start their new, sanctioned life together. Tuguro is still trying to wrap his head around the government's insane power play. Meanwhile, Behemoth realizes that getting along with this guy might be her ticket to a better life. He tries to scold her for breaking things, but she's just happy he's finally using her name. Their domestic squabble is interrupted by a TV special on Chinatown's best street food. The show highlights an irresistible mix of sweet and savory snacks that look absolutely divine. Tujuru barely mentions the location before Behemoth's foodie instincts kick into overdrive. The all-powerful Beast King is reduced to a drooling mess at the mere thought of snacks. A light bulb goes off in Tujuru's head. This is the perfect opportunity. He realizes the fastest way to a monster's heart is definitely through her stomach. And so, their first official date is set, a culinary adventure to Chinatown. Tujuru explains his brilliant plan, win her over with food, since she's glued to the TV anyway. He flashes back to the recent chaos, insisting that Behemoth isn't the evil monster they thought she was. This is their chance, he argues, to finally understand what aberrations are thinking, since he's now her official guardian. His partner can't help but tease him, finding the idea of Guardian Tujuru absolutely hilarious. But our hero is dead serious, asking if trying to befriend her is really such a bad idea. His partner considers this for a moment, until an incoming call interrupts their debate. The colleague's tone shifts to serious business, reporting the situation to a superior on the other end. He then hands the phone to a confused Tujuru, revealing the caller wants to speak with him directly. On the line is the head of the Japanese exorcist branch, who declares the Behemoth case is now their top priority. The boss gives his full support, ordering Tujuru to handle his new roommate with extreme care. The boss passionately explains that a closer bond means she'll be more likely to listen to him. A blushing Tujuru agrees, realizing that showing her human life might turn her into a guardian. The boss confirms his mission: show her the good in the world, and her affection will follow. With a cunning look, the boss orders him to become the most important person in Behemoth's life. The final command comes through loud and clear: treat this outing like a date and make her fall for him. The young exorcist is frozen in place, utterly speechless at his new romantic mission. And so the date begins in a bustling Chinatown, with Behemoth questioning the entire premise. The bustling street is filled with people, turning their covert mission into a very public affair. He's already panicking, realizing that failing this date is somehow more terrifying than facing a monster. A flashback to his lonely childhood reveals the mission's biggest flaw: he's never even had friends, let alone been on a date. Behemoth is completely lost in the crowd, having absolutely no idea what a date is. He's stunned by her new look, an outfit specifically chosen by the exorcists for this mission. Even the Beast King herself seems a little flustered, admitting the human clothes are actually quite nice. Her unexpected reaction leaves our stoic hero completely red-faced and at a loss for words. He snaps back to reality, armed with guidebooks and a fierce determination to nail this mission. He eagerly announces he's done his homework, but Behemoth remains thoroughly unimpressed. His confidence quickly evaporates as he fumbles with the map, trying to figure out where to start. While he's lost in his guidebook, her powerful tail suddenly points towards an unseen attraction. But her beastly instincts take over, and she's already chasing a delicious smell, leaving him in the dust. He frantically tries to get her back on track, but the legendary beast clearly has her own itinerary. He tries to stick to the plan, but she's already found a new target: delicious tea. She mutters that he's not even listening, completely ignoring his carefully laid out date plans. Tujuru gets swallowed by the crowd, his perfect date quickly turning into a logistical nightmare. But a powerful hand yanks him back as Behemoth effortlessly plucks him from the human sea. She scolds him for being too slow and small, worried she might actually lose him in the chaos. He furiously retorts that the problem isn't his height, it's that she's a literal giant. In a moment of panic, he demands she hold on to him so they don't get separated again. She coolly agrees, reminding him that her body is technically his to command anyway. Her bizarre choice of words leaves him mortified, begging her to stop as everyone stares. Instead of arguing, she simply takes his hand, a silent gesture that speaks volumes. The crowd whispers, trying to figure out if the flustered boy and the giant woman are a couple. He realizes this is the first time he's ever held a girl's hand, and his brain completely short-circuits. The top-tier exorcist is completely stumped by the complex, terrifying art of holding hands. He tries to rationalize the situation, but his sweaty palm tells a very different story. He reminds himself this is just an escort mission, a way to keep his target from wandering off. But Behemoth escalates the situation, intertwining their fingers like a real couple. A strange new feeling washes over him, and he silently begs for someone to end his suffering. His romantic crisis is completely ignored as Behemoth spots her next culinary target: roasted pork buns. The carefully planned date quickly devolves into a one-woman food tour. With a blissful look, the Beast King opens her mouth ready for the next course. He watches other couples enjoying their day, feeling the pressure of his own awkward mission. The entire street is a sensory overload, a buffet of sights, sounds, and delicious smells. But Behemoth seems distant, observing the humans with a strange, melancholic curiosity. She admits human settlements are fascinating, a sentiment Tujuru surprisingly agrees with. But her tone darkens as she admits that wherever she goes, destruction inevitably follows. She confesses that in her true form, everyone is terrified of her, and she could never experience this. A shocking realization hits Tujuru as he finally understands the loneliness she carries. He asks if that's why she was just watching the festival from a distance, and her silence is all the answer he needs. For the first time, he sees her not as a monster, but as someone who just wants to belong. Meanwhile, his partner watches from the shadows, worried that her very presence puts everyone in danger. The stoic exorcist is left blushing and speechless by her sudden vulnerability. He turns to her with a smile, declaring that she's actually a pretty good person. Behemoth instantly gets in his face, demanding to know who he's calling good. Tujuru calmly points out she actively avoided hurting people during the last attack. She argues back, insisting her only purpose is to bring destruction upon the world. But his words hit home, leaving the all-powerful beast flustered and clutching her snacks. She playfully pinches his cheek, a silent admission that he might be right. The Beast King leans in close, her intense gaze leaving him completely frozen. A genuine smile finally breaks through her monstrous facade, a sign of her changing heart. She then makes a simple request. If he's a good boy, he'll grant her one wish. Her one request is simple. She wants him to take her out again sometime. From the shadows, his partner smirks, noting their relationship seems to be going surprisingly well. He realizes this isn't just a date. It's a chance for Tujuru to gain complete control over the beast. But our hero is a blushing, stuttering mess, completely overwhelmed by her forwardness. Even his partner is shocked, realizing the power dynamic is the complete opposite of what he expected. Behemoth teases him mercilessly, pointing out that in this relationship he's clearly the damsel in distress. The partner realizes this mission has gone completely off script and decides to report this bizarre development. Tujuru tries to play it cool, but his beet-red face tells a very different story. But they're not alone, as shadowy creatures whisper her name from a hidden place. These mysterious new aberrations have seen enough, declaring that Behemoth must be dealt with. Their romantic moment is cut short as the shadowy figures issue a chilling command: kill Behemoth. Back at headquarters, a new report sheds light on the connection between monsters and ancient legends. It reveals that aberrations often take forms strikingly similar to creatures from local myths. The report theorizes that these monsters are actively shaping themselves to match humanity's oldest stories. Back at the apartment, Tujuru complains about all the complicated reading he has to do. He finds his partner engrossed in a book, who cheerfully explains his love for a good story. He smugly points out that these old tales often contain the very strategies they need to defeat monsters. The partner suggests that if he reads up, he might just find a way to conquer his target. He then mercilessly teases our hero, asking if he's finally starting to see Behemoth as a woman. The thought sends his mind reeling, imagining Behemoth casually relaxing in his bathtub. The partner suggests he could learn her favorite things from old legends, much to Tujuru's embarrassment. He smugly reminds our hero that gathering intel is the most important part of any mission. Tujuru scoffs, realizing his partner is treating this like some kind of children's fairy tale. But the book reveals a critical clue. Aberrations can change their form using a mysterious power. Meanwhile, the shadowy figures are spying on Behemoth, trying to solve the mystery of her transformation. They watch her through a hidden camera, trying to understand the true nature of these creatures. But the Beast King seems to sense their prying eyes, a blush of annoyance on her face. With a powerful splash, she takes out their hidden camera, ending their surveillance. Suddenly, two new cartoonish aberrations crash through the window armed with giant cutlery. They scream their deadly intent, catching both exorcists completely by surprise. But the real commotion isn't from the window, but from the bathroom. Behemoth bursts out, fresh from her bath and ready for a fight. Both exorcists are left completely stunned by her sudden dramatic entrance. She leaps into action, shielding Tujuru with her own body as she swats the intruders aside. The Beast King pins him to the floor, her protective instincts a little too intense for our hero. He struggles under her weight, completely overwhelmed by this new, bizarre situation. Behemoth looks down at him, her expression a mix of concern and pure battle focus. Mortified, Tujuru frantically tries to cover her up, screaming at her to put on some clothes. With the threat neutralized, his partner points out these strange new creatures don't look like any goblins he's ever seen. Tujuru realizes with a shock that these cartoonish blobs are nothing like the goblins from their research files. The partner explains these are just low-level goblins, more of a nuisance than a real threat. He's confused, noting that these creatures rarely attack humans, yet they're clearly targeting something. But Behemoth glares, recognizing their true intent and declaring herself their real target. She warns Tujuru to stay back, refusing to let him get caught in the crossfire. With a terrifying look, she vows to annihilate anyone who dares invade her territory. Tujuru remembers her confession, that she never wanted to hurt anyone with her power. He flashes back to her true form, realizing she wasn't a threat but a protector. Refusing to let her fight alone, he grabs her arm and desperately shouts her name. His sudden intervention catches the Beast King completely off guard. Instead of pushing him away, she gently places a hand on his head, her rage instantly quelled. He tells her to leave this to him, a sudden surge of confidence taking over. But Behemoth has her own idea, a mischievous plan she's been waiting to try. Her unexpected blush leaves him completely baffled by her sudden change in demeanor. Tujuru ignores her, frantically demanding his partner hand over the Book of Legends. He snatches the ancient text, determined to find a solution that doesn't involve fighting. With desperate speed, he flips through the pages, searching for a weakness in goblin lore. His partner reminds him that every fairy tale has a strategy, if you know where to look. He finds the answer, holding out a piece of clothing and shouting her name. But Behemoth has a much simpler solution, growing to a massive size and shredding her towel. The tiny invaders are sent flying, completely unprepared for the Beast King's explosive power. Instead of attacking, the tiny goblins start frantically cleaning up the mess, chanting about trash and life. The partner is completely baffled as the creatures swarm around him, not to attack, but to tidy up. Tujuru watches the bizarre scene unfold, wondering why these invaders have suddenly become a cleaning crew. With a smug grin, our hero reveals this was all part of his plan, straight from the pages of folklore. He explains that these aren't just any goblins, their true nature is hidden in old stories. The book reveals that these creatures were once considered helpful household fairies, not mindless monsters. According to legend, some types of goblins known as brownies are compelled to help with chores. Tujuru proudly declares his fairy tale strategy was a complete success, much to his partner's disbelief. The tiny army of aberrations works in perfect harmony, turning the trash department spotless. He's absolutely thrilled, marveling at how quickly his new monstrous cleaning service got the job done. As a reward for their hard work, he offers the tiny monsters some well-deserved cookies. The little creatures absolutely devour the snacks, their monstrous faces filled with pure joy. They swarm our hero in gratitude, their cheers echoing through the now spotless apartment. Tujuru celebrates his victory, ecstatic that his fairy tale strategy actually worked. But his celebration is cut short by a sudden intense stare from the Beast King. She calmly dismisses her new cleaning crew, telling them not to get hurt on their way out. He reassures her with a gentle smile, telling her she doesn't have to worry about a thing. His simple kindness seems to catch her completely off guard, leaving the mighty beast blushing. She flashes back to their recent adventures, a wave of new emotions washing over her. Behemoth realizes with a shock that he's genuinely trying to grant her deepest wish. Our hero is left completely flustered, unsure how to react to her sudden change of heart. But Behemoth closes the distance, affectionately nuzzling him like a giant, monstrous cat. He completely loses his cool, frantically trying to push her powerful tail away. She just brushes it off, asking when dinner is and telling him to get dressed first. Tujuru realizes she's once again sidestepped a serious moment, leaving him a blushing mess. He can't stop thinking about the recent attack, wondering why those aberrations were targeting her specifically. The delegate at headquarters has the same question, realizing Behemoth must be incredibly important in the monster world. He and his colleague watch the live feed, closely monitoring the progress of their ridiculous mission. The female official notes that Behemoth is still naive and incredibly dangerous, despite her human form. But the delegate just smirks, confidently stating that their little romantic experiment is proceeding exactly as planned. The delegate watches a news report on a rampaging aberration, wondering why Tujuru insists on taming them. He recalls that aberrations are creatures of pure instinct, capable of wiping out entire squads in an instant. But a new team of exorcists arrives on the scene, unleashing a coordinated and overwhelming assault. Their brutal efficiency leaves the monster stunned, a stark contrast to Tujuru's gentle approach. These new hunters believe in one simple rule: aberrations must be subdued by overwhelming force. Back at a different headquarters, a mysterious woman decides it's time to call in her own special assets. The two girls are revealed to be professional aberration killers, a team that deals with monsters in a much more permanent way. Meanwhile, in a distant land, villagers panic as a familiar terror returns to their town. A colossal shadow falls over them, crushing homes with terrifying, unstoppable ease. A massive stone golem rampages through the streets, a threat far different from the beasts of Japan. But this golem's thoughts reveal a shocking truth. It doesn't actually want to destroy anything. The villagers run for their lives, begging the creature to just go away and leave them in peace. But all the lonely monster wants is for someone to stay, a silent plea against its isolation. Back in the present, Behemoth stirs in her sleep, a hint of that same loneliness on her face. She's completely taken over Tujuru's bed, holding him close as she dreams. Our hero wakes up to the sound of rain, thinking it's just another bizarre morning. But he's suddenly in a panic, desperately trying to get out of the apartment. Behemoth physically restrains him, refusing to let him leave her alone for even a second. He furiously explains it's his turn for gutter cleaning, but she insists she'd just be a nuisance. But her worried expression reveals the real reason. If they're separated, she'll revert to her true form. The rain pours down, but not everyone is letting it ruin their day. Tujuru's partner strolls through the downpour, looking smug with his latest bookstore haul. He geeks out over his new books, calling Japan a treasure trove of stories. But his literary high is interrupted when he spots Behemoth waiting on the apartment balcony. The Beast King gives him a knowing look, clearly waiting for someone who isn't him. Her unusual expression catches the partner off guard, leaving him completely baffled. He asks why she's out here, but her pout says it all. She's been abandoned. A quick cut reveals Tujuru is actually stuck doing neighborhood cleanup in the rain. The partner's expression shifts as he puts two and two together. Behemoth admits she hates it, but she's faithfully waiting for Tujuru to return. The partner smirks, realizing their ridiculous taming mission is going almost too well. Behemoth grudgingly admits that being waited for is something she should probably be happy about. Her attention quickly shifts to his shopping bag, demanding to know what he bought. He proudly shows off a new book, cheerfully explaining that stories are his greatest hobby. The Beast King looks tempted for a moment, but quickly decides against reading it, sensing a bad omen. This gives the partner a brilliant idea, asking Behemoth to tell him her story instead. He points out that the tale of a divine beast would surely become a modern-day myth. With a cunning glint in his eye, he admits he's fascinated by the untold side of legends. The colleague tries to charm her, insisting he'd love to hear a story worthy of her power. But she shuts him down flat, claiming she has nothing to tell, leaving him completely flustered. She insists her past is a blank slate, a story with absolutely nothing to tell. But a flashback reveals a different tale, one of a lonely monster visiting a nearby village. She admits she was just curious about human culture, much to the partner's complete confusion. Yet every single visit ended in disaster, with homes reduced to rubble in her wake. The once thriving land around her became a desolate wasteland, a testament to her accidental power. She explains that just by existing, she became the legendary Beast King, a title born from destruction. Her eyes hold the weight of a lonely existence, a world seen only through a monster's gaze. After that, she reveals, no one ever dared to come near her again. She compares her isolation to Tujuru's current task, seeing a beast separated from its world. Behemoth claims she's used to being alone, but her nervous fidgeting tells a very different story. Her sad gaze drifts down to the street below, a silent weight hanging in the air. Down below, Tujuru is happily chatting with a neighbor, completely oblivious to the drama upstairs. The partner processes her tragic story, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. He realizes Tujuru is somehow changing the very nature of what it means to be the Beast King. From her perch, Behemoth watches him with a surprisingly gentle and fond expression. But her fondness quickly turns to an impatient pout as she waits for his return. Her restless tail thrashes against the railing as she wonders what's taking him so long. A sudden shocking realization dawns on the partner as he observes her behavior. With a knowing smirk, he calls her out, suggesting she's lonely without Tujuru around. The Beast King is left completely stunned, as if she's hearing the word lonely for the very first time. The partner points out that unlike her lonely past, she now has Tujuru by her side. He explains that our hero is a rare kind of human, one who genuinely wants to protect her. Tujuru has become a constant grounding part of her new everyday life. The partner realizes she's no longer just a lonely beast, but something more. He continues saying Tujuru's only wish is for her to stay and find happiness. The words daily life and happiness echo in her mind as she remembers their time together. Just then, Tujuru returns, calling her name with a bright, cheerful wave. His simple, happy greeting leaves the legendary Beast King completely speechless. He announces his cleaning duty is over, and it's time for another grocery run, this time for a pork sale. A montage of their adventures flashes by, a testament to the unexpected bond they've built. Behemoth clenches her fist, a new determination burning in her eyes. With a confident smile, she points forward, her ring glowing as she declares it's time to go. The partner stares at his own hand in shock, trying to process what he just felt. Behemoth crouches, ready to leap, asking if the partner is joining their grocery run. But Tujuru quickly backs out, telling them to go ahead while he runs a quick errand. The partner's expression turns serious, realizing what he felt wasn't just his imagination. He realizes the ring is reacting to Behemoth's emotions, a bizarre and unprecedented development. The colleague can only describe this new phenomenon as both wonderful and incredibly creepy. As Tujuru and Behemoth walk, a shadowy whip-like object slices through the air above them. A new feral-looking boy attacks, but Behemoth instantly shields Tujuru, ready to defend him at all costs. Tujuru screams her name, horrified to see the Beast King has been wounded. The new attacker scoffs, impressed by how agile she is for her size. From a distance, the partner is stunned, unable to believe someone actually managed to hurt Behemoth. Tujuru demands to know who their mysterious new foe is. But the real threat isn't the boy, but a girl who asks if he's already forgotten his senior's face. She coldly states that aberrations must be dealt with immediately before they cause any more damage. Our hero can only stammer in disbelief, recognizing his old mentor. With a flick of her whip, she yanks them both onto a rooftop, demanding to know what he's doing here. She gets in his face, scolding him for his disrespectful tone towards a superior. The new senior declares it's time to re-educate him, a promise that leaves Tujuru terrified. The partner watches from a distance, confused why this elite team is even here. The senior scoffs, wondering who called for such a troublesome subordinate. She introduces herself with a smirk, the top-ranked captain of the extermination squad. Her young companion reveals the captain's name is Sun Kusha. But Behemoth isn't intimidated, shielding Tujuru from the overwhelming new threat. The wound on her hand instantly heals with a flash of light, shocking everyone. Kusha ignores the beast, her intense gaze fixed solely on a terrified Tujuru. She leans in and licks his cheek, a bizarre and unsettling gesture of care. Kusha grabs his hand, chiding him for his complete lack of preparedness. With a predatory grin, she declares his re-education is about to begin. Behemoth intercepts the attack, throwing a powerful punch to defend her boy. The partner arrives just in time to see the chaos, wondering who this new woman is. He explains that Kusha is an elite exorcist with a notorious hatred for all aberrations. But Tujuru steps forward, ordering Behemoth to stay back as he confronts his senior. He stammers, asking why she's here when headquarters never sent any official notice. Kusha calmly admits she's aware of the official orders concerning Behemoth. But with a flick of her weapon, she makes it clear that those orders mean absolutely nothing to her. She lunges forward, demanding to know why he'd accept such a foolish mission in the first place. The senior grabs him by the face, her re-education getting a little too personal. She declares her intention to exterminate the beast right here, in the middle of the city. The feral boy leaps into the fray, promising to end this little reunion quickly. Tujuru desperately tries to de-escalate, planting himself between his roommate and his mentor. He argues that she must have seen the reports about this unprecedented human transformation, but Kusha just stares back coldly, completely unimpressed by his rare case. Tujuru frantically explains he even managed to befriend the goblins from the last attack. He points out they resolved the situation without any fighting, proving his methods work. He insists Behemoth is clumsy but kind, and extermination is completely unnecessary. The young exorcist declares that avoiding a fight is always the best possible outcome. His senior completely ignores his plea, unleashing her weapon with deadly intent. Kusha's face twists in fury, her expression making it clear she doesn't care about his reasons. Kusha's cold philosophy echoes, beasts have no mercy and must be destroyed. She believes that as long as a creature is an aberration, its fate is sealed. The senior screams at Tujuru to get out of the way, her attack aimed squarely at Behemoth. But the Beast King effortlessly blocks the deadly whip with her powerful tail. Behemoth warns Tujuru to stay back, declaring her opponent's weapon is cursed. Kusha's feral partner smirks, finding the powerful beast surprisingly easy to read. She explains the simple law of her world to a terrified Tujuru. Only the strongest survive. The boy misinterprets her actions, convinced she's planning to devour her human companion. With a gentle smile, Behemoth declares that Tujuru is on her side now. This sends the feral boy into a rage, launching a surprise attack on a screaming Tujuru. Kusha lunges forward, screaming at the aberration to stop mimicking human speech. Her cursed whip strikes true, making the mighty Beast King cry out in pain. The weapon wraps around Behemoth's tail, yanking her off balance with incredible force. From a rooftop, Kusha mocks the beast's attempts to act human, calling it a pathetic game of survival. She prepares another strike, determined to end this fight before things get any worse. Tujuru realizes with dawning horror that his mentor has no intention of listening to reason. He screams her name, watching helplessly as the powerful beast is brought to her knees. But Behemoth's gaze meets his, a silent promise that she's not done fighting yet. In a bold move, Tujuru places a hand on her back, refusing to stand by any longer. His sudden intervention shocks both Behemoth and Kusha, completely changing the dynamic of the fight. The feral boy leaps into the air, launching a vicious attack on the Beast King. But she catches his arm mid-strike, her eyes blazing with protective fury. Her inner voice roars, refusing to let anyone lay a single hand on her boy. With Tujuru standing behind her, she makes a bold and possessive declaration. The Beast King screams that he belongs to her, and her alone. But her attacker just smirks, unleashing his own hidden power as his limiters break. The sudden surge of energy sends Kusha flying, completely caught off guard. Tujuru can only watch in shock as Behemoth's power escalates beyond his control. Her form shifts into battle armor as she enters concentrated annihilation mode. Kusha wastes no time, unleashing a devastating whip strike to counter the beast's new power. Tujuru screams his senior's name as she throws a devastating punch right at Behemoth. But Kusha's attack is unexpectedly blocked, her confident expression twisting into pure shock. The resulting impact creates a massive explosion that completely engulfs the street. From the smoke, Kusha emerges unscathed, along with two mysterious new allies. Tujuru is stunned, realizing these newcomers are reinforcements from the Japanese headquarters. The new agents casually introduce themselves as A and B, direct subordinates of the delegate. Kusha grits her teeth in frustration, addressing the man as the commander from headquarters. The commander immediately scolds her, declaring that unauthorized rampages are strictly forbidden. Meanwhile, his partner holds up a sign telling the panicked crowd it's all just a TV drama shoot. Behemoth stands ready, calmly noting the unexpected and mysterious surge in her own power level. Agent B pulls out a flashy device, preparing to wipe the memories of the bewildered crowd. The commander calmly announces the Japan branch is taking over, while Kusha is dragged away screaming. Even the feral boy is unceremoniously hauled off, leaving Tujuru to watch the chaos subside. Tujuru turns to Behemoth, demanding to know what that incredible power-up was. She's just as confused, realizing her instinct to protect him triggered something new. Behemoth flexes her hand, noting her body feels lighter and her power more controlled than ever before. He grins through his injuries, telling her that her new form is absolutely incredible. Tujuru happily explains that with this control, she can finally stop breaking everything. A gentle smile crosses her face as she looks at her hand, agreeing that this feeling isn't bad at all. Fired up, he lays down the law. She has the right attitude, but hurting people is off the table. But a sudden childish shout cuts through the tense aftermath of the battle. The commander confirms Kusha's team was sent for subjugation, revealing she's Cattle's superior. A new girl appears, begging the commander to cooperate with her mission, but he insists he's on Team Behemoth now. This mysterious newcomer admits she was actually quite excited to finally meet Tujuru. Meanwhile, the fearsome Captain Kusha has been reduced to a sobbing mess on the floor. She wails hysterically, crying out that her Tujuru is being stolen from her. The commander dryly explains she's having a complete meltdown over him being taken by the giant monster girl. A flashback reveals her obsession. She's known him since he was 6 and can't handle him growing up. The commander bluntly tells the possessive senior that her way of showing affection is completely twisted. He gets a call from the higher-ups, deciding it's best for everyone to retreat and cool off for now. Just as things calm down, an emergency summons from the Japan branch pings every exorcist in the area. The partner's gut sinks as he reads the official convocation alert. This can't be good. The story shifts to the stormy seas of the Ogasawara Islands, where a fishing boat is fighting for its life. The panicked crew realizes they've struck something, but there are no reefs for miles. The boat is completely immobilized, leaving the crew trapped and terrified by the unseen obstacle. Their reef is revealed to be the back of a colossal creature, lifting their entire vessel into the air. The colossal beast drags the tiny boat beneath the waves, leaving only a mysterious glow in its wake. A naval vessel is now on the scene, investigating a rash of capsized boats and strange disappearances. During the briefing, the exorcists learn the bizarre truth. Every survivor's testimony mentions a phantom island. After hearing the survivor's impossible story, the partner knows for sure. They're hunting a new type of aberration. The commander steps in, cheerfully calling for a truce between the two fuming powerhouses. Kusha's face twists in disgust, unable to stand the presence of another aberration. Behemoth glares back with equal contempt, making it clear the feeling is mutual. Tujuru is caught in the middle of their stare-down, completely overwhelmed by the escalating drama. But the mysterious new girl suddenly has a brilliant, if not completely insane idea. She cheerfully suggests that since they're all here, they might as well have a get-to-know-you party. The entire group is left speechless, questioning the logic of a party in the middle of a mission briefing. Undeterred, she introduces herself as Elsie, declaring that getting to know your comrades is part of the job. Kusha questions if she's serious, but Elsie just turns the tables with a sly observation. Elsie mercilessly teases the fuming captain, pointing out she's just looking for an excuse to talk to Tujuru. Elsie gets Tujuru's attention, much to Kusha's silent, seething rage. She whispers that he should leave Behemoth to them and go have a nice, long chat with his senior. Tujuru is completely shocked by the suggestion that he's the one who has to talk to her. Elsie explains that Kusha has been secretly worried about him this entire time. He glances at his mentor's furious expression, finding that very hard to believe. Elsie insists that even the fearsome captain has a lot on her mind. The team agrees that getting Tujuru and Kusha to cooperate is now the mission's top priority. Elsie cheerfully suggests he either persuade her or pressure her, leaving him to wonder why it has to be him. She begs him to handle it, explaining they have until nightfall before the aberration makes its move. And just like that, their get-to-know-you party begins on a beautiful, sun-drenched tropical island. The party immediately devolves into a full-blown beach day, complete with swimsuits and a flying beach ball. Elsie is having the time of her life, while Agent B watches on with a relaxed smile. Behemoth, however, seems completely out of her element, staring down the beach ball like it's a new enemy. Her first instinct is to taste the sand, much to Elsie's absolute delight. Elsie tries to loosen her up with a playful splash, but the Beast King is not impressed. Even Agent B joins the fun, curiously examining Behemoth's powerful tail. The group takes a break for popsicles, which Behemoth devours with monstrous enthusiasm. But while the girls are bonding, Tujuru is seen making a frantic escape in the background. His colleagues mock him for not enjoying his first beach trip, but he insists he's too busy for fun. They offer to cheer him on with some ridiculous poses, much to our hero's utter fury. The agents note that Kusha is one of the most famously intense exorcists around. They pity Tujuru for missing out on the fun, offering to take over his difficult task. But they immediately ditch him to play beach ball, leaving our hero fuming in the sand. Behemoth, meanwhile, remains completely stoic, unimpressed by their human games. Tujuru trudges off alone, knowing that reasoning with his senior is next to impossible. He remembers her terrifying philosophy. Any slip-up in front of her meant certain death. A flashback reveals a young, battered Tujuru kneeling in the wreckage of a battle. Yet he also recalls how she always protected him, her presence a source of immense strength. He admits that despite her harshness, she was a good mentor when monsters weren't around. His quiet reflection is shattered as the fearsome captain herself appears right behind him. Tujuru jumps out of his skin, completely terrified by her sudden appearance. Kusha stands before him in a swimsuit, her expression as cold and unforgiving as ever. He practically screams in terror, realizing his worst-case scenario has just come true. Tujuru desperately tries to reason with her, insisting they all have to get along for the mission's sake. She scoffs at the idea, refusing to be anywhere near an aberration and pushing the problem back on him. He forces a shaky smile, weakly claiming he actually came out here just to see her. His clumsy attempt at diplomacy surprisingly catches the stoic captain completely off guard. Kusha is visibly flustered, while Tujuru realizes her reaction is much better than he expected. A surge of confidence hits him as he realizes this might be his only chance to win her over. Kusha sees right through Elsie's plan, but decides she'll humor Tujuru's attempt anyway. Kusha blushes, admitting she still finds him incredibly cute, much to his horror. His persuasion attempt is failing, as he realizes her mental fortitude is as strong as ever. But his forwardness is clearly getting to her, as her own composure starts to crack. She's so flustered she can barely speak, admitting it's been too long since they've talked like this. Tujuru realizes her swimsuit is so revealing, it might as well not be there at all. Kusha revels in his growth, finding his lingering boyishness absolutely irresistible. But her affection quickly twists into a dark, possessive obsession. A monstrous snake appears behind her as she declares her desire to devour him whole. She suddenly snaps back to reality, horrified by her own predatory thoughts. Overwhelmed, she instinctively punches him, sending the confused boy flying. Tujuru panics as his senior gets a little too hands-on with his clothes. She pulls his shirt open, revealing a chest covered in the scars of countless battles. Kusha's expression softens, noting he's collected even more wounds since leaving her side. He desperately tries to defend Behemoth, insisting she's not the monster Kusha thinks she is. Tujuru admits that aberrations cause destruction, a truth he's witnessed firsthand on the front lines. But he declares with fiery passion that he's going to change that fate, ending the needless cycle of violence. His powerful words even reach Behemoth, who watches the intense conversation from afar. Kusha seems to finally relent, realizing his plea applies to both her and the beast. She looks up at him with a soft expression, calling his passionate ideals hopelessly naive. But a gentle smile reveals she finds his unwavering kindness the one thing about him that's never changed. Kusha grabs his shoulder, her gentle tone a stark contrast to her usual fury. She tells him he doesn't understand the harsh reality of their world. His naive ideals, she warns, will get people hurt in a moment of carelessness. She reminds him that aberrations have killed countless innocent people without a second thought. From the beach, Behemoth watches their intense exchange with a conflicted expression. Kusha insists that to protect what's important, some things must be destroyed. But his passionate words have clearly reached the Beast King, who blushes in confusion. Suddenly, Behemoth springs into action, sensing a new threat with a powerful whip of her tail. Elsie and the partner are baffled by her sudden change, wondering what's wrong. The answer appears on the horizon, a mysterious island that definitely wasn't there before. Kusha's beach day is officially over as she senses the new threat approaching. She mutters that something feels terribly wrong, a strange and ominous presence in the water. The team realizes this isn't a reef or an island. It's something that absolutely shouldn't be there. Elsie and the partner can only shout in alarm as the situation rapidly escalates. The Phantom Island suddenly lurches, unleashing a massive wave that engulfs the shore. Kusha desperately calls out Tujuru's name as they're both swept away by the powerful tide. Tujuru surfaces, sputtering and confused, wondering what just hit them. A panicked Kusha screams for him to look down, her face a mask of pure terror. Below the surface, a colossal sea monster with rows of teeth opens its horrifying maw. Ancient texts reveal the truth. This is a legendary beast, a living island that has terrorized sailors for centuries. The legend speaks of a beast that devours ships, a terrifying incarnation of the sea itself. A colossal sea serpent erupts from the waves, revealing the true form of the Phantom Island. Elsie can only stare in horror, completely stunned by the scale of the new monster. The agents realize with a shock that the beast just swallowed their comrades whole. The partner watches helplessly from the shore, unable to believe what he just saw. Kusha surfaces, desperately calling out for Tujuru amidst the churning chaos. Behemoth struggles against the current, her voice filled with panic as she searches for her boy. The Beast King's terror turns to pure rage, blaming Kusha for letting this happen. She unleashes a devastating energy blast, determined to rip the sea serpent apart. But Kusha leaps into action, desperately trying to stop Behemoth's reckless counterattack. Kusha screams at Behemoth, calling her a fool for risking Tujuru's life with her blind rage. She gets in the beast's face, demanding she use her head before her recklessness gets them all killed. Behemoth freezes, the horrifying realization dawning that her rampage could have been a fatal mistake. Kusha warns her to stay put, explaining any sudden moves will only make their situation worse. With a new plan, the captain declares her top priority is confirming Tujuru is still alive. She dives into the churning water, determined to find him, while Behemoth can only watch. But Behemoth calls out, stopping the elite exorcist in her tracks with a sudden shout. A familiar voice suddenly echoes in her mind, leaving the mighty Beast King completely stunned. Kusha is baffled as Behemoth confirms the impossible. She's somehow connected to Tujuru. Deep inside the monster, Tujuru clutches his ring, sending a single desperate message. "I'm alive!" Kusha is flooded with relief, but quickly warns Behemoth not to attack recklessly. She's shocked to hear Tujuru's next message. He still doesn't want to hurt the aberration. He confirms his bizarre location, having been swallowed whole and sent straight to its stomach. But he's not alone, discovering other survivors from the capsized boats are trapped with him. The news leaves Kusha stunned, realizing the missing sailors are alive inside the beast. Behemoth cuts through the tension, confidently declaring that she'll be the one to rescue them. Tujuru begs them to neutralize the monster non-lethally until he can get everyone out safely. Kusha scoffs at the impossible request, but Behemoth seems to have a plan. A confident glint appears in the Beast King's eye as she prepares to take action. With a colossal splash, Behemoth dives beneath the waves, leaving Kusha to watch in shock. Behemoth powers through the water with incredible speed, leaving Kusha in her wake. Kusha can only stare in disbelief, wondering what kind of creature she's dealing with. With a mighty crash, Behemoth slams her body directly into the colossal sea serpent. The captain screams in frustration, calling her an impulsive beast for the reckless move. Kusha grabs the panicked Beast King, desperately telling her to wait for another chance. But Behemoth insists her boy is calling for help, refusing to stand by and do nothing. Kusha's mind reels, unable to comprehend why anyone would risk it all for a monster. Behemoth glares, admitting she thought Kusha was just like any other mindless aberration. The sharp accusation hits its mark, forcing the elite exorcist to question her own beliefs. With a newfound resolve, Behemoth declares that if Kusha won't help, she has her own strategy.